This research on rats led me to watch one of my favorite movies, The Departed, again.
right? But I think this film takes the idea and pushes it to the absolute, like a life or death extreme, of course.
Yeah.
It makes
All right, everyone, we're back. Real Philosophy. It's me, Vishal, and Mohit with me. And today we're going to talk about rats. Yes, rats, and why rats are associated with so many bad things like betrayal and disease, filth, secrecy. And then we're going to move on to a movie which we want to talk about, which has something to do with rats. But first, Mohit, I was reading about rats, and I think this whole connection of why they, are associated with treachery or betrayal, it has something to do with the Black Death, the plague that
Mhm.
happened all those years ago. And because they spread so much disease throughout Europe and the rest of the world that people just started hating them.
That's
And
interesting. Yeah.
the other thing that I think that sort of builds this storyline for them is there's this metaphor, right? Like the rats leaving a sinking ship,
Mhm.
which also talks about that whenever there's a problem or whenever the ship starts sinking, the rats will be the first one to flee. So
Ah,
that's,
nice. Like women
yeah,
and children.
rats first, and then after that.
Right.
So, and then I think it evolved into this criminal underworld slang,
Hmm.
and it also cues into what we're going to talk about today about, rat being an informer, someone who sells out their comrades to the police or the other way around. So that's the background of what we're going to talk about today. But coming back to the topic, so rats, this research on rats led me to watch one of my favorite movies, The Departed, again. And every time you watch it, there's this feeling of anxiety, right? And that you have throughout because it's so fast paced and both the characters and they are in uncomfortable situations. And from the first scene on, you're on the edge, right? And you're constantly wondering what's happening, who knows what, even though you know who knows what and who's lying to whom. It's like a panic attack.
Yeah, and what cast, man? I mean, there's Leonardo DiCaprio, obviously. There's Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, Martin Sheen, Alec Baldwin, and of course, there's Jack Nicholson. I mean,
Yes.
it's crazy, crazy cast. But yeah, I mean, like you said, and it's. I think it's the ultimate imposter syndrome movie, right? It gets under your skin because I think all of us in our lives also we wear masks, right? Sometime or the other,
Yeah.
all the time for some people, right? But I think this film takes the idea and pushes it to the absolute, like a life or death extreme, of course.
Yeah.
It makes you ask these terrifying questions like what happens when the mask starts to feel more real than you yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we will talk about Martin Scorsese's masterpiece with an ensemble cast, The Departed, and the themes I think that we want to cover today are identity, morality, and the prison, rather the hellish prison of being another person and living a double life.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the film is about two men on
Yeah.
opposite sides of the law who are slowly being erased by the roles they're forced to play. I think it's a philosophical bloodbath, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's set the stage. I'm hoping that whoever is watching this has watched the movie. But
Yeah.
the stage is that you have Billy Costigan, played by DiCaprio, and he's a cop who's pretending to be a gangster, right? And on the other side, you have Colin Sullivan, who's played by Matt Damon, and he's a gangster who's pretending to be a cop. And they are sort of presented as mirror images of each other, rats, like we talked about, in opposing mazes,
Yeah,
right?
that's the core of it. And I think it ties directly into what one of the philosophers who we keep talking about a lot, which is
Yeah,
Jean-Paul Sartre, right? He famously said, existence precedes
yeah.
essence, right? It means you aren't born with a fixed nature or an identity. You become who you are through a set of actions and choices which you yourself choose.
Yeah, so in this case, even though, DiCaprio and Matt Damon, they are born or right, like, or their roles are different, it's what they're doing that defines them. So You're not born a cop or a criminal. You become one by doing cop things or criminal things in this
Correct,
case.
which is why while Billy or DiCaprio's family was all into the
Yeah.
wrong things, that doesn't make him, and it didn't make him a gangster at the end of the day, right? So anyhow, I mean, what you precisely said, right? This is the trap that both Billy and Colin are in. Billy
Yeah.
spends all his time with violent criminals, like acting like them, talking like them.
Yeah.
I mean, at what point does the acting stop and
Yeah.
the being begins, right? It's very, very
Yeah.
tough. The film constantly shows him on the verge of breaking because his actions are in direct conflict with
Yeah.
what he wants to be, the essence that he's trying to hold on to. But what he does is completely opposite of what he wants to be.
And you can almost see this tension or these expressions on DiCaprio's face. Of course, he's a brilliant actor, but he's always in this conflict, right? His face can show it. And when he goes into these therapy sessions with Madeline, he tries to take off the mask, but even then, he is not able to tell her the whole truth because he's so fragmented and he's so afraid, I think, that he doesn't know who is who anymore and who's involved on what side. So he's losing his mind.
Correct, and Colin is the flip side of that coin. Like
Yeah.
he's so good at playing the role of a successful, upstanding state trooper that the mask actually has become his face. He's living in what Sartre would call as bad faith,
Yeah.
right? Like Rick living like a pickle, what
Yeah.
we
Yeah. Yeah.
last time, which is the state of self-deception. He fully commits to the lie because the truth of who he is, just a thug for Frank Costello, is too pathetic to confront.
Yeah, even for him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true.
Yeah, but see, you can't talk about these two characters without talking about the men they look up
Hmm.
to, right? It has to be Captain Queenan, played by
Yeah,
the adorable Martin Sheen,
yeah, of
for
course.
Billy Costigan, and the mob boss, who's Frank Costello, played by the
Yeah,
legendary Jack Nicholson.
yeah.
Wow, like both of them are searching for a father figure.
Right. And as different or as on the opposite spectrum are Billy and Colin, Matt Damon and DiCaprio, their father figures couldn't be more different, right? Queenan, he represents calmness, order, duty, and integrity. Castello, like, of course, is Jack Nicholson, so he's something else entirely. He's like a force of nature, right? And right from the start.
Frank Costello is a fascinating philosophical figure. He's almost like a Nietzschean creation, right? And but before I proceed with describing the legend and the role he plays, why don't we cue in for our viewers the very first monologue
Yeah, his
of
introduction.
in the movie? Yes.
Yeah, yeah, let me play that.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Yeah, so that's obviously a very, very chilling dialogue, and for a character to start the movie with that, I think literal goosebumps, right? I think that is a pure expression of
Yeah,
the will to power, right? The drive to
yeah,
impose your own values to the world.
yeah. So he's that sort of character who wants to, who thinks and believes that he has the power to change things around him, and he's sort of rejected conventional morality, as we see throughout the movie. He doesn't believe in good or evil. He believes in what works for him. And he has his own code, and it's twisted, but it's as it is. And he has created his own mini world around the city, right? And he knows and he also perceives himself as a god in this city or in this world.
Yeah, and I think Colin Sullivan buys into that completely, right? He wants Frank's power, his
Yeah.
confidence, his freedom from the rules. Frank is that father figure who tells him, right, you can have whatever you want as long as you're willing to take it.
Yes.
Meanwhile, on the other hand, Billy is drawn to Queenan, who represents
Yeah.
more traditional, rigid morality, the father who asks for sacrifice for a greater good.
Yeah, yeah, and this I think also has to do something with what we talked about Billy, right? Because he came from a family which was in the hoods or they were in the gangs, and he needed a father figure like Queenan, and that's why he felt so attached to him. And but the film is so brutal about this fact because this Queenan and his quiet integrity, he gets him thrown off a building and Frank's will to power gets him shot in the head. So although they have their qualities and they are like central figures in this movie, they are just treated as any other character. And it seems like in this world, no philosophy can save you at all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah. Coming back to Costello, he has a lot of cool lines and cool scenes. I still remember that theater scene where he pulls out the
Yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah, but we
big
won't go
black.
into that today.
We won't
Yeah,
go into that.
yeah. So there's this classic line from Frank, right? Cops or criminals, when you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference? And the movie sort of is obsessed with this idea, right? There's no right or wrong.
Yeah, it's a direct assault on moral absolutism, right? The film argues
Yeah,
these categories, cop, criminal, good, evil, are just labels, right? The uniforms underneath
yeah,
everyone is driven by the same primal urges: fear,
yeah,
ambition, and a desperate need to survive.
yeah, yeah. And if you look at other characters as well, like Dignam, he's supposed to be on the side of the good guys, but he's presented to be so vicious and a cruel character in the movie, right? He is played so well, and he's so verbally and psychologically abusive to everyone. Like everyone is scared of him. I was a
Yeah,
big fan when I first saw his character in the movie,
yeah,
and
yeah.
the methods are brutal. Yeah, he's played really really well. Yeah,
Yeah,
this character.
I mean, seeing Mark Wahlberg in itself is a sheer pleasure, especially in this movie. And I feel he just took this character to the other movie called The Other Guys. It just
Yeah,
felt like very similar characters, but why don't we see a clip, to show our
yeah,
viewers?
yeah. Of course.
With your old man, one kid with your mother. You're upper middle class during the weeks, then you're dropping your eyes and you're hanging in the big bad salty projects with your daddy the fucking donkey on the weekends. Got that right? Yep. You have different accents? You did, didn't you, you little fucking snake? You were like different people. You a psychiatrist? Well, if I was, I'd ask you why you were paid to make 30 grand a year. And I think if I was Sigmund fucking Freud, I wouldn't get an answer. So tell me, what's a lace curtain motherfucker like you doing in the Stadies?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
we could go on and on, but for the sake of the podcast and the paucity of
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
It's
Dingham's role is to show us that the good side isn't pure, right? To
yeah,
fight monsters like Frank Costello, the police have to become monsters themselves. They have to
yeah,
operate in the gray area. And if it means abusing the daylight of someone else for a living, then so be it, right? And I mean, not
yeah,
just Dingham, the entire film lives in that moral gray area, right? There are no heroes when
yeah.
it comes to Departed.
No, yeah. So at any point of time, at least for me, it's very difficult to pick sides in this movie. You don't know whether you want to root for. Of course, you always have this bias that you want to root for the police or the right side. But when you have characters like Dignam and others on this side, you get into this, like you said, gray areas where you don't know whether this is the right side as well, because they are also feel like morally corrupted. And this is what makes Billy's position tragic, right? He's trying to hold on to some moral line, some notion of right, but the line keeps on moving and eventually is erased. And so he has to commit violence to maintain his cover, and he becomes the very thing he was supposed to be fighting against.
Yeah, the film suggests that in a corrupt system, individual morality is a luxury you can't afford.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Both
yeah.
Colin and Billy are ultimately just products of their environment, right? No matter how much Frank wishes otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously, most of us and our masks, we are not, deep cover agents in any mob. But the film suggests that people behave like that, right? So they have this conflict in which they wear different masks, and
Absolutely.
all of the characters are wearing different masks in the movie.
100%. I mean, think about the different versions of yourself that you perform every day. I think,
Yeah,
for our viewers, we shot this one episode on Tamasha where
yeah,
we also delved into this, like who you are in, let's say, work life and who you really want
yeah,
to be, etc. All of that. So, like, there's the work self, there's the family self, the self you are with your older friends when you meet
yeah,
your college mates. And
yeah,
unfortunately, fortunately, we all wear masks. We all have a public identity and a private one, right? The sanctuary that George refers to,
yeah. The
that
worlds are
the
colliding.
worlds are colliding because there are different masks, right? And you don't want the mask of one of yourself to come into contact with the mask of a different world. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just that the masks that we wear, they're not life and death situation. They,
yes, yes, of course.
for most of us, it's a low stakes version of what these two characters are going through in the movie.
100%.
Uh, so this pressure to present a certain image to fit into a system, corporate or social circle, like you talked about, and the anxiety that comes with it, the fear of being found out as an imposter or a fraud. This is what you call, like I said, the imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the film serves as a cautionary tale. It asks, what's the cost of that performance?
Mm,
Spend your whole life acting a part. I mean, what happens to the real you? Does it just wither away and die?
yeah,
The Departed suggests that the cost is everything, like you lose your soul.
yeah. As in, you can argue that everyone loses at the end, right? Towards the end, everyone has lost something important.
Yeah, they all die. I mean,
Yeah, to put it bluntly, yes.
yes. But again, before we wrap, what's your favorite philosophical moment in the film? I mean, if I go first, for me, it has to be that therapy scene between Billy and Madeline. I think the very
Oh
first.
yeah, yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying so hard to be vulnerable, to connect with another human being, but his entire existence is a lie, so he can't even speak. Like he says, the lies are eating me up, and she's
Yeah,
trying to analyze him professionally, but you see her own mask of professionalism starting to wither away.
yeah,
It's two people in a room, both hiding, and I think it's just electric with tension, and you know that they're going to sleep
yeah,
sometime or the other in the
yeah,
movie.
and it's sort of strange, right? Because Madeline is also trying to have this relationship with Colin and
Yeah,
set something up there, but I think there's something missing there, and that's why she gets attracted to Billy as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what about
Uh,
you? What's your favorite scene?
I think there are many scenes between Billy and Queenan. Of course, one of the scenes we already showed where Billy and Dignam, where he's talking about his education and family. But yeah, so Billy and Queenan, there's a scene about them meeting on the rooftop. There's also a scene in which Queenan invites him to his house and and asks him to have a meal with him. So these moments, they're quiet, but there's still tension, right? Because Queenan cares for him, unlike I'm sure Dignam also cares, but cares in a fatherly manner, and he sort of is the only person in the world who knows who Billy really is. So he's holding his identity, right? And if not for him, he would Billy would be totally lost. So he's trying to pull him back from the brink. This is the only island for Billy, so to say, in which uh, there is truth, his identity, and around the ocean of paranoia. And of course, what happens with Billy and Quinn in both is just brutal towards the end. But I think these scenes between both of them, they are sort of quite different from the rest of the theme of the movie. They are
Yeah,
scenes of care and yeah,
correct. No, you're right. But I think we need to mention about the ending, right?
yeah,
But let's not just mention it. Let's maybe show our viewers what it looks like, especially
yeah,
to people who want to relive that.
yeah.
I can't wait to see you explain this to a fucking Suffolk County jury, you fucking cocksucker. This is gonna be fucking fun. Just fucking kill me. Just fucking kill me.
I am killing you.
Oh my God.
Of course, there's more to where that came from, and that's not really the ending. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's one of those scenes which has so much tension, right in that elevator.
yeah,
The sheer ugly suddenness of the violence. Billy, well, in some ways, finally gets his identity back. He's about to expose Colin, and then out of nowhere, I mean, just
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's no heroic final speech. There is no victory. There is no justice. I mean, it's just a messy, pathetic end.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think I read it somewhere, like a fun fact about this scene was this is sort of maybe the only time they've shared screen, DiCaprio and Damon.
Yeah,
together. This is what I read. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we can find out. But yeah, so this is the first time
interesting,
like they've been caught in camera together, both actors.
interesting,
So yeah,
interesting.
but yeah, coming back to this, yeah, no heroic speech, no victory, just a messy end, and so anti-Hollywood, right? Maybe it's characteristics, uh, thing for Scorsese, but it's sort of a statement that in this brutal world there is no justice, there's no nice ending, which with nice music, it's just chaos and rats, nothing else.
Yeah, man. I mean, this has been a heavy one, Vishal. I think The
Yeah,
Departed shows us that identity is fragile and morality is
yeah,
messy. It's a world
yeah.
where everyone is a rat, maybe in some way or the other, trying to survive in a system that's designed to chew them up.
Yeah, yeah, and it's the final scene summarizes this pretty well, right? It's there's a rat and on Colin's balcony, and you
Oh,
can see it. You can kill all the people, you can try to erase everything, but the disease, the what we talked about, the corruption, duplicity, it's still there. You can never truly escape it.
yeah, the film doesn't offer any easy answers. I mean, maybe it doesn't offer any answers at all, to be honest. It's a tragedy in the truest sense. It
Yeah,
shows us the horrifying cost of a life built on lies,
yeah,
and it leaves us with a deeply unsettling question, which is that in the roles that you play every day, how much of it is really you, and how much of it is just an act.
yeah, yeah, true. All right, this is us, Mohit and Vishal, Real Philosophy. And we will be back soon with another take on another one of your favorite movies or TV. Until then, you have to ask what mask are you wearing today and ask yourself who you are when nobody's watching. Ciao.
Ciao, guys.